Hi everyone, my name is Anne Andrews and I'm the author of the book Women Behaving Courageously: How Gutsy Women, Young and Old, Are Transforming the World. If you've watched my two previous videos, you'll have got an insight into the way this all works. But if you haven't, what I want to talk about is unleashing your inner warrior. And we all women have an inner warrior. I'm going to ask you some questions. I run a lot of women's groups and I ask them these questions. If you ruled the world, what changes would you make? And of course, we have big conversations about, we would look after our children better, we would have better education, we would look after the planet better. And we have all these lovely conversations about what we would do. And then, of course, people start saying, yes, but I'm just one person. What can I possibly do? And so I ask them more questions. I say, okay, if finances weren't an issue, what would you do differently with your life? And I'm going to step in here with a real life story. I'm working with a woman at the moment. Her background is she was probably mid 40s and couldn't get a job. She'd been in a few sales roles, but was finding it very difficult to get back into sales. And so at the time, her husband had he'd had a bit of an inheritance left to him, not a lot of money, I think about $50,000. And he said, why don't we use this money to buy into a franchise that you can run, because he was already working. And then it solves the problem of you having a job and it makes the investment grow. So we've got something for our retirement. And so this lovely lady set off in a business that was totally unsuited for her. She's been in it for 8 years, and she is no further forward in 8 years than she was when she first started. In fact, if anything, she's probably lost money. And so I started asking her a few of these questions. And I said, one of the questions I asked her was, does what you're doing bring you joy? And honestly, it was as if I had punched her in the heart. She literally collapsed on the desk and sobbed. She said, no, I hate it. I hate what I'm doing. So I said, so why are you continuing to do it? And she said, because of the finances we put into it. My husband put $50,000 into this thing, and I've lost money for him. I said, okay, how about if we put that to one side? What would you do differently if you didn't have this noose around your neck? And she said, oh, my sister has a rescue farm for donkeys and horses and dogs and cats and what. And she said, I would just love to work with her. I said, okay, how about you and I and your husband, we work out how to get this business back on track so that you can sell it and move on with your life. Because she'd worked out, I said, where would you aim if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do differently? Her whole face changed, her body changed. The business still isn't great, but we're getting there. But now she's going to be doing what brings her joy rather than it being in a business that is just literally a noose around her neck. So I hope when you're listening to the various speakers in this exhibition that you're inspired to look at your life and think, okay, where's my joy? Am I getting joy? Is any part of my life or business joy bringing me joy? And if it isn't, please start thinking about what you would do differently. I get it. I say to people, what would you do? Where would you go? Where would you aim? All of this. And then, of course, we get all the what I call the buts. Yes, but I'm too old. Yes, but I'm too young. Yes, but I don't have any money. Yes, but my husband wouldn't like it, or my partner wouldn't like it, or my mum wouldn't like it, or my dad wouldn't like it. And so when I was starting to write the book, I decided I needed to run a few workshops for women to just get some more up-to-date feedback. I had run workshops for women 30 odd years ago, but I'd gone into the business world working with high-performing teams, and I worked mostly with men. I love the men. They're great. They're awesome. But they think very different to us. I don't think most of them have the care about the planet or the families or communities that women have. And so when I'm working with women, I ask them, what would you do differently if your finances were, where would you aim if you knew you couldn't fail? If there was one thing in the world that you could fix, what would it be? And the cover of my workbook says this: you were assigned this mountain to show it can be moved. And I get women to think about what it is that they would do differently if finances weren't an issue, if their partners would support them, all of that. And once they start to think about what they would do differently, they change. Their whole demeanor changes. They get their warrior woman. And I bought a t-shirt for my granddaughter because she's working in a very male-oriented world. And the t-shirt says, "You cannot withstand the storm." And underneath it says, "I am the storm." So please, women, if you're listening to this, don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. If you are passionate enough, if you are determined enough, there is no mountain you cannot move. Please remember that. You are here for a reason. There's nothing accidental about you being here. There is a specific purpose, an assignment, a mission on this earth that only you can fulfill. Please never doubt that.